It is 6:39 and time now for our Morning Cup of Joe with Metro Sheriff Joe Lombardo. Good morning, I was going to say good morning, Metro Sheriff. Good morning, Sheriff. It's nice to see you.
Good morning.
Hey, we know it's a busy day for you, so thanks for making time for us. We have a lot to ask you about New Year's Eve, but we want to start with this really quickly. Metro recently made a number of arrests involving internet sex crimes. What can you tell us about those, and what do you recommend so others don't fall victim?
Yeah, there was a significant amount of arrests, unfortunately. So our Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, who works in conjunction with the FBI, that's our normal procedure for them, or a normal type of investigation for them. And the sad part behind it, it's so easy for them to do. You would hope it would be a difficult type of crime to perpetuate, but it isn't, and that's what's unfortunate. So it's important for parents to be aware of what their kids are doing on a daily basis, specifically to the internet. Monitor their phones, their computers, talk to them. And, and if you're an anonymous person and you become aware of a situation like this, you can call the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force here at Metro at 3421 is the extension, 828-3421, or you can call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. You can do that anonymously. They receive tips from all across the nation, usually from third-party internet providers. They provide those tips to them, and specifically during this pandemic, their traffic or their number of tips that they're receiving has grown exponentially. I think that's probably people locked down and bored. These predators, they're experts at what they do, and they know all the key words to entice children to get them into their fold. And I think it's important. I guess the crux of this is have your parents engaged in your life.
Yeah, and you really worry about that too with all the distance learning and kids being stuck in front of the computer. So good stuff to remember. All right, Sheriff, so New Year's Eve, it is tomorrow night. Going to be a lot different, of course. What's Metro preparing for on the Strip?
Well, like the last time we spoke, not much change from that. So it's hard to anticipate what the crowd's going to be. So we're prepared like we normally are in previous years for an enormous crowd. If it's unfortunately a small crowd, we'll deal with it accordingly. We got about 100 less officers out on deployed this year. We actually have more officers deployed in the neighborhoods this year because of the governor's restrictions and people hopefully abiding by those restrictions. There's been a lot of Airbnb traffic, and we're concerned about neighborhood parties that are going to pop up. So we're going to have teams deployed to respond to them, similarly like what we do on July 4th with fireworks. The curfew will be in place this on New Year's Eve, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And we're going to shut down the street around 8 p.m. For people to go out into the roadway if they desire to do that. And then no fireworks. Unfortunately, so that won't be a draw for people because no fireworks. And then we'll have the restrictions that we normally do during special events like July 4th and other events to include New Year's Eve on what you can bring down into the area. And in other words, no baby strollers, no glass containers, no big bags such as backpacks. If you do bring those items, we'll ask you to leave the area with them. And don't return with them. And then we have to also deal with Fremont Street. I believe it's changing by the day what this experience is going to be down at the Fremont Street experience, whether it's going to be a charge model for people to get in, whether it's going to be an open model. There will not be any live entertainment, and COVID being in where it is now and how it's spreading now, that's going to be a major concern for us.
So, Sheriff, what are the ramifications, since officers are going to focus on neighborhoods in particular, for illegal house parties, Airbnb, and also for illegal fireworks?
So, yeah, we have the fireworks statutes on the books. If you are discharging illegal fireworks, we will confiscate them and we'll write you a citation more than likely. And as far as the house parties or neighborhood parties, we can close those down because they're illegal in the county and you have to be permitted in the city. So and then we have the COVID restrictions associated with it. So there's a lot of tools that the officers have available for them to address that issue, and I anticipate we're going to have to deal with it this New Year's Eve because of people not wanting to go to the strip areas.
Is Metro taking any extra precautions tomorrow night in light of the bombing in Nashville on Christmas Day?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're always aware of our critical infrastructure throughout the valley, and we have folks dedicated to that job on a daily basis. But we're also going to do a force multiplier with our patrol officers in the specific area commands where critical infrastructure is located, and we're going to be monitoring those areas on a continual basis.
All right. Sheriff, it has been a tough year. What are you looking forward to in 2021?
Yeah, you can't say that enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a tough year. You know, dealing with the COVID, we had 2 deaths internally here on my department. The economy associated with the COVID and the layoffs associated with the COVID and the protests, you know, post George Floyd, and, you know, my officer Shay McElhanus and the situation that he was put in and we're still currently dealing with. And so there's a lot of things I've had to deal with. And what is our job? Our job is to fight crime and provide that blanket of safety for the community. But that was a little bit of a bright spot for us in 2020. We were able to keep violent crime down over 4% and property crime over 13% through 2020. So I'm proud of that with a diminished workforce. So going into 2021, I'm hoping this vaccine is the panacea, you know, turn our economy around, be able to hire more officers and, you know, move forward instead of backwards.
Absolutely. Well, we wish your officers safety tomorrow night as they protect us. Thank you so much, Sheriff, for joining us, and Happy New Year. We'll see you next year.
Happy New Year, Alex.
Thank you. If you have a question for Sheriff Joe Lombardo, send it to us on our website. It's 8newsnow.com, and you can find out if your question was answered every Wednesday.